heard of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it is that big. And we'll talk about it, but all right, we're rolling.
We're rolling?
Yeah.
Hot Private! This is the War on Comics. I'm Colin.
I'm Omar.
Today's theme, if I'm not mistaken, was your theme. You tell the people what the theme is.
So the theme for this week, guys, was kind of like, we love team ups, right? But what happens on the production end when you team up, you get just the right flavors together and create something great. These were our picks.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a stigma against the creativity by committee in comics, particularly like mainstream big two superhero comics. And generally, I think what we have talked about traditionally on this big show is auteur-driven comics. You know, the writer is an artist, etc.
Yeah, like one vision.
And I feel like these are both good examples of a mutated vision or two visions coming together, or visions that maybe don't go super streamlined, but are all the better for it.
Right.
We got about as big two mainstream as we can get. 80s Spider-Man comics. I don't know if you heard of this guy. Guy gets bit by a spider.
Maybe he's on your radar.
He's got the strength of a spider.
Get me pictures of Spider-Man.
Oh, if I could get pictures of this guy, that's a different story. But just the stories I hear, wild. And we got Mr. X.
Yeah.
Got a 4-issue mini-series /
This one was a kind of an anomaly.
A false start?
Yeah, I would say.
But yeah, really fun comics noir a little bit.
Comics noir,
noir
definitely.
Adjacent. And then we're continuing our dreaded slog through
everyone
the
is here
Cerebus
for.
read. It's not a slog. That's a mean thing to say.
Yeah, I feel like
It's getting a pinch of slog.
it is, but it's not like rough around the edges as much as like it gets the slack for.
Right.
Not,
yes. We haven't gotten. I think it gets.
It doesn't get there.
It gets pretty sluggish. There's a few of them that I would say, yeah, this is maybe a little too in the deep end. But by my estimate, we're not there yet. So we're not in the slog zone, but we are through the due diligence of reading one of the great masterworks of comics. I think Cerebus.
Yeah.
I'm being a little cheeky sliding it, but this is one of my favorite books. I'm happy to dive into it. So without further ado, let's get into this, shall we?
Let's do it. Nice. All right, man. So that was the lemonade bad boy.
I just fucking devoured that. Jesus.
It's like a goddamn ice cream. Somehow.
I'm loving it. I'm amped.
Okay, so we got these are two pretty, like, I think well-known works for the like comics cognoscenti kind of deals. Like, did you ever hear about?
I've never heard of Mr. X.
Okay.
Obviously we know, and it's, I don't know, really amazing how like undersold it is, because you would never guess looking on the exterior that look at that Jaime and Gilbert on the inks, and it's beautiful to look at. But in color too, as opposed to the
pretty rare
big chunk of black and white that their catalog is known for. Should we start with this one?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right, yeah, we were all right. Let's put these aside. Start with issue 1. So you brought this in as an example of collaboration, and I think, to me, I was just like, that's the credits were super like dicey. They didn't really tell you who did what. It's like the designed and created by part is interesting, and it looks like Canadian. Am I tripping?
Yes.
So weird. And of course, like the Hernandez brothers are so aggressively Southern Californian.
Yeah, the style mashup is kind of weird. Because the covers look really slick. They look like paperback covers.
Yeah. And
I don't really know the background of how they got involved. I think the Dean Motter just saw their work in fanzines.
Right.
And they must have been publishing stuff at this point. Maybe there was an actual Love and Rockets out I think there actually was.
Okay.
And they were hired, all three of the brothers, so that would be Jaime, Gilbert, and Mario, were hired to do this work.
It's just so amazing how, like, out the gate, these are immediately identifiable. These are Gilbert girls, no?
Yeah.
And these are...
I mean, this is Jaime. This is basically maybe Jaime inks on Gilbert pencils. And I know Mario had a good amount to do with the story. I don't know if, like, maybe we can get more background detail on that.
Yeah, and even to have...
This is one of my favorite.
If I'm not mistaken, usually they kind of split up to some extent. One does the Palomar stuff, and the other does the Locas. And that's at least what I know of them from the big old phone books or omnibus that they have of each of those. So this is interestingly like collaborative in the sense that everyone's kind of getting in the mix. So they're working on each other.
That feels very Gilbert right there to me. Like, that can be like a Jaime, but that's a Jaime kind of lady. But this is almost a Gilbert like pose there in action. And there's signs, and
even the coloring is so crazy to see on their work, and it's really good coloring. Obviously, we love the black and white that they do, but this is you know, to go back to the original concept here, like as far as collaborations go, I don't think this is a butchering of their work by any stretch. Like,
and it could have been, because like the wash kind of color, I feel like sometimes looks like a like children's books a little bit, but in a bad way.
I had like such nostalgia for like, I don't know, like those 80s self-published books that I just would buy from, you know, dollar bins and like 50-cent bins. So like, there's I'm trying to think of like, what were those, like I think it was Eclipse that did like horror anthologies. Like all the EC knockoff stuff that was coming out in the 80s that like
Eclipse.
I was picking up in the early 90s, and it all has, this look is straight out of those. And it's all about like, you know, colors and saturations, and really probably like print limitations that they had at the time that gives it this look. The Premier paper, the direct market, yada, yada. But it's still part of that look, and gives it a lot of charm. I guess maybe stuff like that, shading, I don't really love, because I think they do such a good, their faces are really good, like something like this, where it's just
monotone.
Or like, look at that they're so expressive and kind of minimal that when you get into some of that 3D shading, that,
because I feel like
me up a little bit.
His inking already indicates, like, not to get too tech, like I'm not an expert on it, but I think the feeling I lose when they are doing that color there is that the lines are already indicating shape in a way, like as subtle as it is, it's like already kind of showing you, and like our mind would have filled in that space.
Exactly.
So I'd be curious to see just like what it would look like without that, but they also shaded that. So it's interesting.
These are very minor quibbles, and this, I mean, would really lend itself, this sort of like city, you know, guys in suits stuff is would lend itself to the black and whites, you know, and even all these shadows and contrasts, like they don't really need the coloring. I could definitely hear the argument as to why this is maybe some unnecessary dash, but that's the whole thing. You have so much Hernandez Bros stuff in black and white. This is just so straight up. This is like pure Locas style. And even, you know, besides that, just so influenced by that, like, I don't know, early 80s punk and new wave feel. This is, I think Return of the Living Dead comes out a little after this.
Sick.
But this is like, you know, in the zeitgeist of like, the 80s youth hanging out. Of course, they're in a weird like sci-fi world, and the guy they're hanging out with is this, I don't know, I'm getting some Doctor Strange love off of that. I think so. I don't think that's unfair to pull.
There's probably some weird, obscure person that they're referencing like for this.
Fritz Lang, Jason, something like that.
This is one of my favorites too. This page, dude, and Jaime signed it, of course, because it's like, this is the shit. But this page is so fucking cool.
And I mean, Yeah, I don't.
What do you think about this? The Tales. This is Beto and Mario.
Okay. Yeah, it's nonsense. There's a lot of this. I mean, notice we're spending a lot of time on the art here. We're not really getting into the story.
The story is almost. I think they're figuring it out. Like there could have been a nugget of an idea. This is also one of my favorites.
As a literary device, this kind of recap where they're just talking to you and telling you what happened in the previous issue, first of all, for its time, was actually important because I think the direct market indie scene was like, if you missed an issue, you were kind of boned.
Yeah,
it wasn't a given that you could get the back issue or that they would be collected at some time. So maybe as I'll kind of chide a lot of collections of big two superhero stories as like being a little clunky where you're reading Fantastic Four and Reed Richards in the first 2 pages is just like, oh boy, ever since that that spaceship where we all gain powers and I can stretch and think
down. Actually.
Yeah, it's super clunky.
Yeah.
And maybe back then was a little more necessary. The was it? No, who was like the heel of the?
Was it Jim Shooter?
Jim Shooter, yeah, the Jim Shooter mandate of every comic is someone's first comic.
Yeah.
Again, there's an argument for that, and it was a lot more relevant then. So I would forgive that stuff a little bit. But what a more effective way to get those ideas across.
It's like the most efficient because these guys are students of all that era. I would say they're almost like in that Jim Shooter world. Like they are kind of his age, I think. And so they were growing up with the same comics. Like Archie Comics did this well. And I feel like that they evoke the Archie a little bit in these kind of things. This is just perfect. This, like you're saying earlier, this isn't out of place from Love and Rockets. This is almost like a weird lost Love and Rockets story.
I mean, we got Maggie here,
literally,
and then doesn't Luba like legitimately?
Yeah,
like,
she's in.
herself?
She's in a couple. She's in like I swear it's in. Maybe we missed it. It's in the background and then right in the face of it, and then I think that's Opie is like one of these. They're all around.
Yeah, I think they also just liked drawing people who
I think
like
so
that.
too.
So hey, look at this. Oh, those expressions are so great. That's pure like Dick Tracy, right?
Yeah.
I hope I'm not just saying that because he's got a trench coat on.
No, it definitely fits. Like, look at that. That's Dick Tracy. Right?
Yeah, man. This, the Mr. X rising from the trash. They do. So yeah, the story is something
interesting
about this futuristic city, and like I'm really glad we got to talk about Megalopolis, the Francis Ford Coppola movie. I am like purely in the Megalopolis cult. I might be the Megalopolis cult. I love that movie.
Oh,
man. Not even like, not mega ironically. Maybe I appreciate it for the opposite reasons because it's so earnest in what it's trying to do.
The message is so clear that I think it's almost... you have to obscure it to try to like figure it out.
Right.
Like the message is like, I don't know, that face value, that movie is a mind fuck.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I guess I just have a soft spot in my heart as culture gets a lot more fascist towards just like the general issue, aging hippie, which we all probably spent our time making fun of as kids.
Right. But like, they're the most earnest people out there.
And, I don't know. You look at track records and like a Neil Young, let's say, is like, you know what? he's been more on his shit than I think any other. Yeah, for sure. So when I see a movie like that has a pinch of that energy where it's like, someone just... I'm going to make a movie and change the world.
It's like humanist. The movie's like almost like humanity. But that's human.
There we go. It's I don't know. Regardless, point being,
Megalopolis.
This is kind of Megalopolis in theme because it's all about this city of the future with this weird plans, and they kind of get into it, but it doesn't. It's very sketched out. I guess not unlike a megalopolis, where it's like more about the idea of a futuristic city that needs to have the plans examined.
And that it's a like a super city. It's almost like what's that old movie? The Fritz Lang movie.
Oh, Metropolis. Yeah, for sure. And I guess that's kind of connects to the old goggle guy here, right?
So on this dude, he's an architect that made all of this perfect city, but the people that ran the city basically figured out how to manipulate architecture to manipulate human beings.
Sure.
And it's like I think it's right here, psychitecture.
Okay.
And that's him that's him prior to the drug that he invented that keeps him going. So it has a little bit of that, like, fucking not Liam Neeson, but the Crank movie.
Oh yeah, because he's on this stuff that where he can't.
I think that's him right there.
He doesn't sleep. That's kind of, and I do really like a superpower, like just sure, he doesn't need to sleep. That's his superpower because he's on this experimental drug that he has. Like, I don't know. I'm a simple man. You put that in the comics, I'm going to enjoy it. You know,
it just adds that kind of. It adds to the interest of it. It adds to like, oh.
And he's got these 4 women who all have a different name for him, and they're all sort of I don't know. I guess there's a bit of a mothering thing there because he is such a helpless person in a sense, or I don't know.
He's just like super. He has a tunnel vision, I guess, and so they're just like trying to get him to slow down, but in like that anti-hero kind of way. He's like,
or just keep him not dead.
I guess so. Yeah, like they just really are trying to keep him around.
I don't know. I guess it's somewhat of a male fantasy. You know, not so much. It would be a little smutty. You know, if they all wanted him physically, but it's just. You know, I mean, I don't know.
It's more of like they knew him from the past life, like they were his friends, and like I don't know if the cop was his colleague or something like that, but they kind of seem like they worked together.
Yeah, so I don't know. The Hernandez brothers have an interesting portrayal of women in their books, where it is just like it is a male fantasy to some extent, but it's like.
Or the male view or of like specific personalities.
Yeah, or like, you know, what if boy, these girls were cooler. I mean, this does have a lot of mommy issues written all over it, you know.
Cool, yeah.
But
cool chicks in my comics.
Yeah, they're all going to be my friends.
This one right here, Smoke Fats.
So good.
So this is the last issue of a Hernandez Brothers produced Mr. X comic.
Yeah, and it's just so. I mean, it picks up steam to an extent. I do like the writing, which is like a lot of these comics that are kind of art forward. I'm like, yeah, it looks good, but there's no story, so I don't care. But I was like engaged the whole time. And, you know, most of the time when the art is good, it's not Hernandez Brothers good. So I don't know. I guess it's interesting as let's say it's interesting as a historical bit, you know, like
almost because the Hernandez brothers are who they are. It's interesting,
right? But it's not like if I was picking this up off the rack every month, I'd be like, oh, well, this sucks. You know,
that's true.
I do think it's engaging. I would definitely elect to keep reading. It seems like there was some fan base in it based on like
the forwards and stuff.
Yeah, some of this, like they were selling posters of it, and I thought this was interesting. I forgot. There's is it this one or?
It's in one of the last issues that they did.
It's lettered by Ty Templeman, who went on to have like a big career. You can look him up. He's all over everything, but also a Canadian artist. So it's interesting to see these. Yeah, they got letters pages. People are writing. They're engaged.
I think
they're selling. who the hell's got that Mr. X shirt?
Dude,
that's what I want to know.
That's what we need to get. If you have one of these, even these covers, dude.
These are posters.
Those are posters?
Yeah.
Man.
Which is like kind of I guess that's some Hernandez brothers art.
That's definitely a Jaime.
Geez, it's very, very cool. But yeah, you do on one hand you wish there was more of it. On the other hand, they pretty much stopped these to start doing Love and Rockets full time.
Yeah, I think that they just weren't getting so it was like both ways. They weren't getting the workout on time, but the checks were also not coming in on time. So I think that it went both ways. And once there's like a forward in one of the last ones where they say like, go read Love and Rockets if you haven't yet. Like it's got real promise or something like that. Like this is super early in their careers, and it's nothing like, it's not a boring story. There was definitely something happening, and I wish that they this is something that they ran with.
Yeah, and I think the the vibes, as it were, are in like the ambiance. Let's say let's gussy it up here.
Yeah.
The ambiance created in all these books is very cool and pretty consistent, and I was on board with it. And yeah, I definitely would have liked to see more of it, but also like I have to choose this or a Locas. I'll take I'll take the latter any day.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, for this powerhouse of creativity, to see this art to our original premise here of how they were collaborating and working with other. I don't even know if it's writers so much as like master planners or other
like
characters,
plotters, I guess,
something like that. I mean, I'm sure it was pretty lazy, like Alice sketch these out and send them down to them and see what they do. So it's interesting to contrast that with the more the work that they had complete creative control on. And so on the premise, on the theory of collaborations, I don't know, I just can't come up with any other reason why we could read this comic. But it is a comic that I have read several times, enjoy thoroughly. It comes highly lauded. The Mike Zeck art, which
good.
I am, I don't know if I've outed myself on this level, but I am a very big Punisher fan. I love those early, the at least the 90s run, essentially. I think, man, I might like every Punisher comic I've ever read. I don't know if I have, there's like bad runs of Punisher comics. Even when they're bad, they're kind of good.
Yeah.
And but Mike Zeck stuff, he did the Circle of Blood and most of the really iconic Punisher images.
I've read
him
that one, man.
Him like with the two pistols out, and maybe the video game, the arcade cabinet. I think he might have done some of the graphics for that, but don't quote me on that. But he's just a great artist, and this is it is a. I do not know J.M. DeMatteis' stuff. He's a writer.
I think he's a writer of like he's been in and out of the Marvel stuff.
And this is I appreciate this because it is like this is
a great collection.
An old school printing of it. I'm fairly certain this came out like I don't know, pretty much soon after it was published. So you don't have the total lead digital overload as far as all the as far as like a more modern printing would go. And yeah, this is pure comics by committee. This is Marvel method. You got a writer and artist and an editor and the deadline and all of that. A colorist. It's everyone coming together.
Yeah.
But I think this is like a good argument for that. I don't know. It's no one, put it this way, I don't think anyone involved in this comic has done like their own work.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh shit, they were holding them back this whole time. Right. Like when you read it, and I don't need much by the way, like not to say that this isn't much, but like when Barry Windsor Smith did Monsters at the end of,
still gotta read that, man.
It is such a fucking slap a dick on the table moment.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. It's
sometimes you gotta read those. We need that shit.
It's so 10 out of 10, and it's so like, okay, yes, he was held back. Like I loved, obviously I love like his X-Men comics and all that stuff. Like anytime he was doing that, but it's like you read something like Monsters, and it's like, all right, this motherfucker should have been let off the hook or let off the chain and just been
a little bit.
led to do whatever he wants to do. I don't know that Mike Zeck has ever done a work like that where it's like, oh shit, let this guy cook.
He's kind of like a company man, but like almost like a John Romita.
A very, very, very strong, very competent, very like, again, there's no other, the art speaks for itself here. Like you're going to see some shit where it's like, this guy is
not only that, man, the storytelling. My favorite part about this was that we went back to formalism. Like this is late 80s where everything was getting fucking like big movie, crazy, like Terminator, just blockbuster style comic book making like was on the horizon. But these guys still are sticking to Marvel methods, sticking to stuff that works.
Yeah.
But iterating on it. They're kind of fucking around with the formula.
And it is really it's a prescient book. This is the 90s before the 90s happened. I think it is maybe like 89 into 90 or not, if not 1990 on the dot.
Yeah.
That I think it's 6 issues running over 3 different Spider-Man titles. So again, to go back to the point of like, this reads as one coherent, very well contained story, but it is a crossover event by all means, and it's also very like intimate and personal. But imagine, you have a subscription to Web of Spider-Man, but not Spectacular.
Exactly.
You're missing out on
story.
Every other bit, so it's a little bit of a cash grab. Again, to go back to the point of like purely commercial comics.
Did they make the story first and then do that? Or
I mean, it was published in its time coming out. So it definitely took some like organizing and everything. I don't know how it fits into continuity. I mean, obviously we still got the black suit and we have this like, a smattering of like this edginess that the 90s would kind of be known for. But, Spider-Man being edgy is coming in and putting the money in the collection office for
he's our guy, dude. He can't do, he can't be robbing people.
No. But he's still in black and he's still a little bit gritty. But we're not. We haven't reached pure edgelord status yet.
That shit was so nice.
That said, it's not Peter Parker's last hunt. This is Kraven's last hunt.
Kraven.
It's a Kraven-centric story.
He's Kraven spiders.
This is so like. You see his descent into madness kind of going, and they really thread it out. This, I guess you could call this edgelord stuff. This is pure like dark, gritty. This is out of an Image comic or something,
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's actual craft and coherence, and doesn't feel extreme for extreme's sake.
No.
I wish this was kind of more in the zone of what edginess was. I think whereas like maybe up to Preacher. I think once you get into that level of like arse face and all that, it becomes a little bit like, all right, calm down. But again, and not to belabor the point, but this is Comics Code approved, man. Like they had to like deal with
they're sending
censorship and all the BS, and they're still able to tell this story. This is a fucking panel.
Such a money shot.
Yeah, all the screens and the purples with the hits of yellow, like. I'm sorry, man. Like this is like exactly
That's
the
just
kind of
sweetness right there.
Story. Okay, so Kraven.
So where are we here?
Kraven exists,
and Joe Face. This Joe Face thing was kind of crazy because did he insert the Joe Face like vision into him when he shot him with the dart, and later on we see Joe Face? Like, was that a hallucination that he just keeps having because of that, or like is he a demon? I don't know what the hell's going on.
I guess we're just trying to emphasize Peter Parker's humanity here. This is a reoccurring motif through the book that I love, the like kind of choppy panel to panel movements that these aren't wordy. I mean, this is, and again, counterintuitively, this is great writing because it doesn't take up the space. It doesn't detract from the art. You understand everything that's happening. This is a writer, and then with the help me out here. Who's the tiger? Yeah. Obviously, it was done in Watchmen, but it's William Blake. I think it's a William Blake poem. So. And of course, you changed it to spider instead of tiger, but whatever.
I didn't get that until right now.
Look, writing.
But man, this is and these pencil pages are pretty cool too. But I agree. I think like I don't need too much, man.
Bro, the meme.
That's such a fucking hard fuck stance.
Rip bozo right there.
Dude. And look at this. This dude is cracked. Like he's crying underneath the mask, right? And just absolutely like so stoked. It's fucked up.
The conceit is, I mean, what a great man. This is good writing. I'm sorry. Like I know it's superhero really stuff, but it's like the conceit is that Kraven is this ultimate hunter guy. He wants to hunt and kill Spider-Man. And in the 6-issue arc, he does it in the first issue. Spider-Man is under glorious. Here lies Spider-Man slain by the hunter. But Kraven realizes that it's not just enough to kill the man, he has to kill the legend too. So he dresses up after his Rip Bozo moment. He dresses up as Spider-Man and starts to do some un-Spider-Man-like activity. Now, in the backdrop of this is this guy, Vermin, who's, again, to go back to that motif of panel-to-panel movements here, is there's a serial killer on the loose, and his name's Vermin. We're going to get to know him. Little creepy guy, little bat guy. And like, look, man, it's simple, but it's
skittering action.
Like the orange, that's Kraven's thoughts. The yellow, that's Spider-Man's inner thoughts. The orange is Kraven, pink is Mary Jane, green is Vermin. And you get into all these people's worlds, and there's no confusion. Like, oh, who's worried about this rat here? Who could it be? You know who it is, but it's still that color coding. To go back to the collaborative issue is like a really smart device.
It's effective as hell. And that's like just those little tricks that give your story potency. It's just lets you play around with it a little better. Like just these little tools, man.
And old loony Kraven just getting more tweaked out on his geek juice. And
he's just getting further and further into that crocodile shit. Like it's going way... Like this is a full hallucination that is happening. It's so good. It's so good in your Marvel story.
And he's talking about Captain America here. I assume that they fought before or something, but we don't need a whole breakdown of it. Just he's talking about something about Captain America. We'll take it.
And it's just kind of like, and that's a Marvel story. Right. You're kind of just assuming like, oh yeah, Captain America exists. I'm sure these guys have run into each other. Obviously this guy got away. Now he's going to deal with our guy here. And
I think it's a lesson that I think of a lot, particularly in all these fucking movies that are coming out, and Disney shows and all that. It's like, why is this story taking place in the Marvel universe? And if you can't give me a good reason as to why the story you're telling needs to take place in the universe, I kind of don't need to read or watch your story. And I think when you get into some of the more auteur-driven superhero comics, they get a little up. They can get a little up their own ass in terms of being like so isolated. Yeah. And this is again big brain comics, and we're acknowledging that this world has a history, has a past. It has Captain America in it. He doesn't show up in the comics, but he's mentioned. It's in New York City. We're using old villains of Kraven. Like, we're not creating I want to tell a story about mental illness. I don't have to come up with, exactly. I am PTSD. I'm haunting you. I'm haunting you, Batman. It's like, no, make it Clayface and just give him those traits. I don't know. Figure it out. Give me a good reason as to why it takes place in the story. And at no point reading this do I feel it is either bogged down with continuity or that it's too isolated from the Marvel universe. Like it utilizes all of that stuff to its advantage in the best way, while also telling a fully standalone story. One of the best panels in the book, right here.
When he gets spooked by the
so
spider.
Good.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, Vermin trying to get out, and then he gets a little bit scared.
Dude, now that you say Batman, I was kind of getting like, not to say that this is all the way to the level of like Frank Miller and like Mazzucchelli stuff, but it's giving me Batman. It's giving Batman year one
for sure. I mean, it is very gritty street level stuff, which Spider-Man always is or was. Classic. But I guess if you take Peter Parker out of the Spider-Man world, you have the brutality. If you know, maybe that's an overstatement of the Batman world or of Gotham or something, but like. Here's our guy Kraven in the Spider-Man suit. Mary Jane thinks he's safe, and then he just starts really brutalizing people,
destroying these dudes.
And Mary Jane immediately recognizing after all this, that wasn't Peter. I am the Spider. Again, now that color coding starts to get a little bit more coherent, right?
Yeah. And you're able to jump back and forth between people, and it's a really great use of the color, and it just looks well, like this color. It's kind of grayish, like tone.
Yeah, it is. It's street level, but I don't get the sense that it's like film noir, or a detective thing, or a throwback to anything. Again, if anything, it's just looking ahead towards the 90s. Come on, this is it.
That was so gnar, yeah.
So nasty.
The sequence, like it's just
and like I guess it's a little Frazetta no.
Who's the guy?
The horror Wrightson.
Right, Bernie?
Yeah,
Bernie.
this is a Wrightson.
Like all the lines and
for
stuff,
sure, like especially the contrast and the shadows there. But like,
dude, the lettering. Oh god.
It's so crazy. It's horrifying, but it's still like so well done, and kind of shows the danger that everyone's in here with this big old monster man on the loose.
Cannibal murderer.
Just these poses.
This was so hard, dude.
Again, this is not far off from a Frank Castle, so you can kind of see how Zach was getting his reps in, working on this story. And then goes to face off against Vermin, and
this is
Kraven in the Spider-Man outfit. Just again here because I guess Spider-Man had lost to him before, so he's here to show that he could beat this guy that when Spider-Man couldn't.
It was like almost makes it seem like it was a loose end in the Spider-Man's trail of achievements. Like he was going to be a better Spider-Man than Spider-Man ever could be.
Yes, exactly. And
effectively destroying his story.
I evoked the Bernie Wrightson, and look at this. Tell me that's not
that's straight up Bernie Wrightson.
Oh my god, that's so...
especially after reading that Spider-Man Bernie Wrightson story.
Yes,
for sure.
So good. And we're inside Peter's mind.
Dude, this shit was insane.
All this kind of it's hallucination stuff, and it's overcoming the fears. Whatever, just go with it, man.
It's May 4th, right? May the 4th be with you.
Right,
it's like Luke going into the forest and seeing Darth Vader and
blasting his head off there.
Yeah, and boom,
so hard.
Boom. This is the late 80s version of Steve Ditko's fucking like
for sure, except the opposite's happening. Instead of lifting up the machinery, he's falling under it.
He's just trying not to die.
Yeah, and then he has to get through old Kraven's menagerie.
This was kind of gnarly to me. Like 2 weeks. Holy shit.
You just gotta roll. Okay. It's like the big picture here. Big picture here.
Wow, 2 weeks, Spider-Man. How are you gonna fix that?
Really loved this sequence, like whole page, 9-panel grid. The Vermin is trapped in this electrified cage or fence here thing, and it's like this is again just good writing. Like
good.
I don't know if this was written out in script panel for panel, like I demand a 9-panel grid, blah blah blah. But either way, like the lack of words here is like peak. It is very well done, very well conceived.
So it just tells like the poses. I'm just like kind of I don't know.
No, he's creepy.
He's creepy. Yeah.
No, it's so I don't know. As a medium, again, it's like we're looking at as mainstream and normal of a comic as you can get, right?
Definitely.
But there's so much care put into it, and there's so much thought, and there's so much craft, and it's just enjoyable to read. Like this is not, I don't know, my experience reading it again this time around was like just a good time. You know, there's not a lot of heavy lifting or like, well, yeah, this is good, but you have to sit with that and deal with this and put up with that. It's just great times, man.
And like, so I usually I would say like, yeah, it's because probably they could flex like a different muscle with the story instead of sticking to continuity and stuff. But for all intents and purposes, like this is in continuity, right? This is like happening as a actual, because this is referenced in like, I think in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Like this is now part of the Spider-Man canon.
Right.
So like, usually those stories just do well because they're like within the
it was a big event. Like this is when Galactus shows up. This is when Wolverine gets his adamantium suit or something like some big event like that.
A big reveal, a big like another like novel point in the story. This is more of just like Kraven's been a character in the story for a while. This is just like it's coming to its to like its evolution, like they're
I mean he's also a Ditko character, believe it if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, you know, again to the GOAT's credit, like having all of this shit figured out within the first 20 some odd issues,
just knowing probably like the kinds of characters that would best work against your main guy,
right?
Like he just had that kind of taste, I think. Like maybe not the dialogue. I wouldn't say Steve Ditko's the greatest as we've seen. Like I love the art, but the dialogue's not very good. But I think just in the vibes, he understands character.
And it's such an amazing foundation to like see that you can use what he did and build something so completely unlike that. You know, that's again. Talk about a collab. This is a collaboration within a collaboration within a collaboration. Some collaborators didn't even know they were getting collaborated on.
This is just happening in the middle of the run.
So, like a writer can just pick up a guy's characters and play with them and tell an interesting story.
Isn't that wild? That pose was fucking sick.
So good. Feels like, I don't know, that
this kind of
if that was, I think someone else swiped it
for sure, dude. Liefeld's definitely looking at this and
what's that fucking?
It's the
feral
guy. It's
the chick with the in X-Force or whatever.
The orange cat, like the She-Ra and probably Vermin fucking combo or Chitara or something.
Right. Okay. We'll find the swipe. I'm sure.
Yeah. If you guys have it, throw it in the comments because that was a swipe. Or that's been swiped.
And so, and I think it's kind of, I don't know, a real basic story or whatever. But basically, you know, Spider-Man takes pity, sees the humanity in Vermin and realizes that he's just completely mentally shot and can't be in public or whatever, can't be amongst people, but also like he can't doesn't feel good beating up someone who's just disturbed like that, you know? And I guess you see like Kraven is just like, see, I beat you. You couldn't beat him. I win. And you know, that what makes Spider-Man is him just being like, you know, he's not about winning. He's about being a human being. And
this was
what a cool
sequence. Is so insane.
You gotta stick the landing, literally and figuratively. You have Spider-Man. He's like gonna kind of save people from the Vermin. Kraven just letting him loose, which is so great.
It's like he did win in his game. Yes. He won.
And if you want to, like, you know, spoilers ahead.
Trigger warning.
Feel free to hit eject right now.
Trigger.
Feel free to hit eject. Come back after you read the comic. But big reveal.
Yeah, here we
3,
go.
2.
Boom. Boom.
Motherfucker offs himself. This
Dude,
is insane.
Is this the Watchmen? What? This, man, I didn't know anything about the story. I've only heard about it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what the fuck the Vermin was, actually.
Of course.
I don't think he's in any more stories past this or any that I've read, but like, dude, to have the Kraven kill himself in your comic, that's hard as fuck.
It's called Kraven's Last Hunt.
Dude.
And it's like, fair. Yeah, he wins, and then he fucking...
And guess what? That's all he completed this dharma.
And he saw how like empty it was. And just the only logical conclusion.
The grave guy, the grave
Oh my God, we're bringing it back.
So hard.
And then I think that kind of like reoccurs here. And then it's, pretty standard issue after this. Spider-Man sends into the cops, because the cops both treat mentally ill people really well.
So he leaves them in
good history
in
there.
Their care.
Exactly.
Dude,
and then who are we burying? We're burying Kraven this time. He died with honor.
With honor, like.
And that is that, folks.
This
Kraven's Last Hunt.
Holy shit, man, was the best. One of my favorite reads so far. Here's the creative team.
Bro, that guy's gonna fucking write the best disco record of 1978 right there.
Dude. Fucking A, man.
It's that bitch.
It is that bitch.
Certified, 100%. No, always talked about, maybe not as much as like Year One or like that level.
Yeah.
But it's not like a well-kept secret or anything. It's out there for you to find. I highly doubt it's ever been out of print or anything like that. But again, just pound for pound, satisfying.
It is
a very fun read.
I can't believe that they haven't made this into a movie yet. I mean, hopefully now that they introduced Kraven.
They made a far superior Kraven film. I mean, how do you... man, not to get too juicy here, but like that's why comics are comics, man, because you can have a story where he just offs himself at the end, and like it works. And in a weird way, I don't think that the movie would be very good. Like they did. You ever see the animated version of like Killing Joke?
Yeah.
And that goes like panel for panel. Like it's a very faithful retelling, except for that stupid fucking song part. I don't know. There's some dumb parts in it, but it's like as faithful, I think, as you can get to the comic. But then you finish watching it and like, why did I need to watch that? I don't care. Like
horrible.
You did a good job.
The comic was incredible. Like the Brian Boland did that one, right?
Yeah, and Alan Moore writing.
There is just definitely something about comics and how it does storytelling that to go along with like that point. I don't think that movies or any sort of like moving picture can match the impressionism that comics give like off,
Yeah, I mean, these are characters that were built for this medium. They're interacting in this medium, and like, man, I've been full disclosure here. I've been like in the dog shit trenches of the MCU lately. Rewatched fucking Eternals, bro.
Oh, dude. Okay. Does it hold up?
No, it was never held. It's abysmal. That's like notoriously one of the worst. I
bailed that movie like 30 minutes in.
It's so rough. And I realize now after kind of reading more Kirby stuff, it's like, oh, this was a self-contained world that all these, Kingo and all these people are interacting with. And they just like, no one was asking for a fucking movie of it. Yeah. But then they just made a movie of it. But to go back to my point, like, why does this need to be taking place in the MCU? It does not. There's no reason for it. It
lives outside of all that stuff.
Of course, because Kirby's stuff intentionally lived outside of all that stuff. When he was writing those characters, he wasn't like, oh boy, I can't wait for Kingo and Thor to have their big head-to-head.
Yeah, no way.
So it's just the dumbest fucking move. But they did the Thunderbolts movie that I saw. That's out this week. And I've never read a Thunderbolts comic, but I actually really liked the movie. I thought it was a great example of kind of what I'm talking about, where like they're actually using all these characters that they kind of pushed on us, like all the fucking Black Widow movie that was kind of not great, and the Ghost character from fucking one of I think the Ant-Man 2 is in it, and like all these characters that they kind of introduced and took away, and you're just like, all right, when the movie came out originally, but then you watch this and they all come together and they all start telling this other story, and it's like, okay, this is fucking cool. This is like, obviously these aren't good movies as like film, but they do something that no other movie can do, which is bring all these kooky characters together. Yeah. So I think I think the Marvel movies are good as, fleshed out worlds and having the toy box characters kind of play with each other. I think that's fun. I think that's thrilling. I enjoy seeing it. I don't want them touching the story. I don't think they could do this as...
They probably couldn't.
No.
It has a nuance that I don't think fits in like that kind of world right now.
Yeah, you can get... Who's like a jacked crazy guy? Who's jacked and can act well enough to make eating a bunch of spiders entertaining of a thing to watch?
And not only that, who's going to direct it? Because like, I don't really want like a David Fincher take on anything like that. Like, the Spider-Man does have this is the more edgy in the Spider-Man canon
for sure.
I'm a huge Spider-Man aficionado, and I don't think that like, honestly, I think the closest you can get is like the Daredevil TV show. Like if you went that route,
that's
maybe
pretty close in tone. But also I think speaking of tone, like I don't want to see this story with the like prestige TV gleam, like there's a lot of shows like that where it's like, okay, this is supposed to be, good TV trademark, capital G, capital T, this is like good TV. But like, I don't know, I like the cheapness of the comic, and it's like such an impossible tone to translate to the screen in this regard. I mean, there's other stories I think could work, but maybe Killing Joke is like the best comparison, because like,
I think so.
That's a pretty standalone story. I'm being honest. Alan Moore stand-him aside, I think I enjoy this story more. I like Killing Joke a lot, but I don't know. There's something that's just a little more street level about this story. One? Yeah.
This is pulp done like spider pulp. Like it's like very specifically Spider-Man. As a fan of Spider-Man, like I could easily latch onto this. Like it was so easy. Like I know who Kraven was and I have the background.
And he's dead for more than half of the books.
I mean, it just kind of fed the fandom a little bit, but also was just a great story and a great use of the characters. And not overwhelming everything with a fuckload of characters. Like the most that it does is reference, which is sick. Dude, I mean, Mike Zeck too. I keep going back to this guy. Like the more and more I find of his stuff in this era, it's just insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I always say there's like kind of a spectrum of good. Like there's really good comics. There's comics as literature. There's the graphic novel. There's the really highfalutin stuff, and then there's like superhero stuff. And there does come a level where you do such a good superhero story that it creeps into that literature era, you know. And I don't think it's necessarily has to do with like themes or mature subject matter. This is a very juvenile comic, you know. It's a lot of gross out stuff. It's kind of cheap, but the craft behind it, I think that's what really sets it apart to me. I think something like George Perez's Wonder Woman, let's say, is like not high art. I don't think I could give it to someone, you know. I don't think Daniel Klaus is reading that stuff and being like, oh damn, I wonder what's going on with Themyscira right now. This is crazy. You know, I don't think that crowd is going to ever care, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still just as a well-crafted, it's as good as you can get before it turns into something else. And I would call Kraven's Last Hunt in that tier of like right before really good comics. So right before that something else starts to happen. There exists Frank Miller's Daredevil, you know, there exists Killing Joke. And
could you say this is late stage Marvel, like in that century? Like,
you know, it's so hard to say because it's still so creative and it's still so purposeful, even during this era, which if we're calling that like late stage Marvel, you know what? I'd say no, because even like, you know, a Rick Remender kind of run from the 2000s would probably be a little bit more maybe not auteur driven, but just a little bit more indie friendly, you know. Or Mike Allred is still like,
I thought he did Spider-Man as well, right?
Maybe. I know he did like a run of Silver Surfer that's actually pretty good. That's true. That's sort of like where I guess you can get into the highfalutin territory with Marvel stuff. So again, this is really still so street level. This is still for the boys. This is still like,
for sure.
This is still safe from like the artsy fartsy crowd. I don't think you're going to convert anyone to comics with this, but I think anyone who loves comics is going to really love this story, probably more than someone who doesn't know much about the medium. So I don't know. I could go on. I wish there was more. I wish there was more.
I wish there was more. I think the thing is we wish there was more of these.
Yes.
Like, these are comics, readers' comics right here. And I think like, dude, these are comics made by creators that have digested their fair share of comics and also have made them. So like, I think this is just when you get comic book nerds making comics that are also great.
I know. And I guess it's just, when I say more of, I guess I'm just saying like, I want some more that's of this caliber.
Yeah.
Because I think with superhero stuff, especially like the post Frank Miller pre-Image boom, not necessarily of sales, but of quality. Like when people started stretching, when you had your Sienkiewicz's get in the mix, that was a great time. And it was fostered, I think, by a lot of people who came before who were doing really good comics. It's not like Frank Miller invented good comics or anything. There was like a whole stew of Neil Adams's and all that, who this comic, by the way, is dedicated to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want more. I would like to read more very, very good superhero comics. It's a sad thing to say that I think I've read everything that's at this level from that period.
That's an interesting like thing to think about.
I'm sorry, man, but like I spent some time. Maybe this is running a little long. I don't know. I spent a lot of time
like last thoughts
going down like best of lists, you know, and like this is Kraven's Last Hunt is usually on any of them that have like gumption to them, and you know. All the runs you can imagine are usually mentioned in there. But after you read all that stuff, you're kind of like left following just, you know, characters and having fun. Like, again, to go back to the Punisher, like there's never a great Punisher comic. You know, there's very fun Punisher comics and there's really entertaining ones. But I don't that's just a character I like. So there's some connection with that I'm getting, but there's not like a Punisher book that I could whip out on someone that like doesn't really read comics that much, or that just transcends the medium so strongly and be like, no, you got to read this.
Yeah.
There's like a few dozen of comics of that caliber in the superhero genre where you just have to kind of start petering out, be like, all right, fuck it, just here's Mouse, you know? All right, fuck it, just start reading Bone. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Like, there is kind of that threshold that it's... I don't really tell people to read Marvel.
Right.
They just know, or they just fall into it.
Or they assume that's what everything is, and then they're either into that or they're not.
Or they're not. You know, people actually think the people that I've talked to about comics with, like, they think like Marvel and DC are comics. Like that's a floppy. This is comics, right? And then graphic novels and manga, like that's a graphic novel or manga.
Some different a different air to it.
They give it like so much more weight, and I think that hang up makes it hard for me to really like. I don't think it's by accident that happened,
right?
Like in the bookstores, it just happened naturally, you know.
Like, yeah, and it is, you know. Again, I think a Kraven'S Last Hunt proves that you can go month to month floppy. Committee creating it and still make a great work. So it's like, you know, that you can have better comics, but you just don't get that level often enough to be like stoked on it, man. Like for me, at least, I mean, that's just like the harsh reality is like these do kind of stand, unfortunately, as more of an exception than the rule. But in a world where this was like, if you don't bring it on this level, we kick you out of comics, or you're not allowed into the club.
I wish that was a bar still, because I don't know, dude, if you've read the recent trades or anything, but the level of storytelling right now is so formulaic that it's like most of the time I wonder if they just have like a framework built out, and they just fill it, like plug and play.
I mean, look, the bottom line, like all things, is money. And I think if you are good, you're really good. If you're really creative, if you have good ideas and everything, you're probably not going to go into comics at all. If you go into comics, then you're going to be making your own shit and, you know, being the next Walking Dead, Scott Pilgrim, etc. And if you aren't doing that, then you're gonna, you know, this is a Hulk Buddies Orange. You know, this is fucking. This is Batman or Joker has a different girlfriend, and she's also Harley Quinn, but with a color palette swap. Because why the fuck would you give your A game to these companies who notoriously fucking ripped everyone and everything off? You know, like. I don't know the last, like, I guess Brian Michael Bendis is probably actually pretty goddamn compensated, but like Miles Morales as a creation, granted that's like just Spider-Man, you know, for sure. But like that is the cultural impact we've seen of that character in our lifetime, going from movies to games to everything. Like I'm sure he's getting money.
Yeah.
I would be kind of pissed if I gave away Miles Morales. But even then, it's like that's the level of creativity he'll give you is like a different take on an already created character. Because if you truly give him something new, if you give him a Venom or like I don't know, some or I mean like a Harley Quinn, you know, created
like
from
Bruce Timm.
If you give him something like that. That's kind of that's a rough one, man. I wouldn't be doing that. You know, again, I'd just create the boys, you know, and create my own thing. And I think really the talented people and the people with lots of ideas, they're de-incentivized to give those ideas away. Chris Claremont, good Lord, let's build that guy a fucking statue. He gave away the world he gave Lord of the Rings away. You know, like the level of world building he did with that franchise.
Run.
And like, I'm sure he's done well. I'm sure he's fine. I don't think he's homeless or anything. But the amount of impression that we have of that world versus
how rich is that world now?
How many people know who Storm is, and how many people know who Chris Claremont is? How many people know, the Wolverine's origin stories, for God's sakes, and how many people know the name Chris Claremont? Why the fuck would you want to do that? If you have that world in your head, why would you want to give it away? And so we're just getting fucking dog. We're getting dog shit.
because the companies are dog shit.
Yeah, so they're giving people such bad fucking contracts, and everyone knows, everyone's smart enough to be like, I'm not giving you my shit. I'll fucking write Squirrel Girl, fine, but I'm not going to fucking give you my shit.
A game is not going to be coming to the big dogs.
No, and then you write a fucking immensely successful Squirrel Girl run. We're talking peak max, realistically, 50,000 copies a month.
Yeah, that's peanuts.
Maybe like Batman is 50K.
Yeah, and that's just basically on name. Like, the kids. Dude, I get it. It's rough out here for everybody, and I do think that the creators, like, if you're trying to make it a product to be sold and bought and traded, like in like the market,
right?
Like, you have to be good, or it has to be interesting, or a combination of the two. And I think that Marvel just or DC or even Image just banks it off of like their pedigree.
Yeah,
in a way.
And I mean, people want to play with those characters that they own the IP of, for sure. But like, you just saw with, I think, like, they made a show of Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, and it was like basically just a swiped. They basically just took it.
Oh shit!
And like, that was, again, we're not talking about some old guys in a boiler room inventing Hawkman here. We're talking about like people who are alive and well, and you can DM on Instagram and get a reply from. And at the same time, granted, a fucking Disney Plus show isn't exactly, the next Avatar or something.
But they should probably still get like some sort of shine.
And if there was, and a name in the credits or whatever, but like, I just feel like if there's a carrot dangling over your head, is like, hey, if we adapt your run, we're going to give you X amount, and like this, you're going to be baked in. You're going to be making money off of this. You're going to get mailbox money. If you do a good job, you would attract better talent who would, again, and that's not to say that they have untalented people, but I don't know why you would give your good shit to these guys. Why would you want to get Chris Claremont?
And they've proven time and again that that's not worth it.
And there has not been another Chris Claremont since Chris Claremont, because like,
was Claremont after the guy that did She-Hulk? Claremont was before
John Byrne.
Before John Byrne.
Yeah, John Byrne came on to X-Men for a while, and they did like there's I forget which one exactly. I want to say the Dark Phoenix saga is John Byrne art, and man, those two fucking perverts together, it's so sick. I love those pervy old men so goddamn
Speaking
much.
of pervs, let's see. Yeah.
Okay. We'll keep. I think this one's kind of brief, right?
This one is like, I mean, I don't have too much on it, but I do. So just some thoughts moving.
So
some differences that I felt.
So Flight to me is this is book 7 of 16 of the Cerebus saga. To me, this is the first Cerebus that isn't better than the last one.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
And it's not like a complete fucking fall off, but Melmoth to me is like high art.
That is my top now.
That is a beautiful fucking story. That is a quiet story, a very quiet story if you think about it, and it's not really too plot driven. You're watching what the fuck, like,
it's a day in the life, like it's the last days. It's just like Dave Sim is a great storyteller. What he is trying to say may not jive with, I think, like society in a way, but he does have a storytelling chop. And in that story in Melmoth,
yeah, I call it Melmoth. Yeah,
man, he had a vision, and it was just done in an interesting way, and like you felt like he was taking care of the story, so it was such an easy read.
And the pacing is well done, and the art is good. And it's not
it pays off. There's a little bit of closure, but also it opens up the next story. It's like, it is a capsule story in a way,
but it's also like the magic to me of what Melmoth does is they made a whole fantasy world and got you to really care about Oscar Wilde's last days on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, you're heavily invested in this based on nothing really. And you have such, faith in the author that you're going to let him take you on that trip. And like, you're not mad at the end of reading it of like, what the fuck? Where's my barbarian here?
One of my favorite onomatopoeias now, thump.
That's a good one. I like it. And that lettering's great.
Yeah, it's
for
so
sure.
Good.
So Melmoth ends. Cerebus has gone on a tear. He's cutting through this kind of theocratic state that the Cyrenists have set up. And essentially they are communicating with each other telepathically.
Like hornets or something.
Yes. And so they're all swarming in.
So the judge in this sequence, which
he was in the previous, one of the previous ones, one of the Ascensions.
So he tells Death that he's not actually Death, making him realize that he's not a concept. So he goes, okay, well, fuck me. And he just disappears.
And there's something about him using like a kind of vampiric level to have been draining his power over time.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the short and long of this one. Cerebus is on a tear. He's cutting people down. This is that statue of the Peaks.
This is all the way from book 1, folks. This is some shit.
This is just fun.
Yeah, dude, this was fucking sick.
Complete kill crazy insanity, and they're all kind of communicating to kill him. It's just good art. That's all there.
It's
all
so
we got.
fun.
All the black of the blood is like so good. The way it's like, I don't know.
Splotchy.
I mean, it's very manga, but it's like,
is, yeah.
I don't know. There's something like the way it does contour around. It's really
crazy,
really good. Good action in a book where you just watched The Last Day on Earth of
Oscar Wilde
via letters that he wrote back with his
It's intense.
You get some pretty intense action sequences. Like, yeah, it's really, I guess that's where the balance comes in.
Yeah.
But basically, the short and long of it.
So this is
Siren.
This is Siren, and becomes later on. Is this the one where the 3 aardvarks?
Oh yeah, we're kind of introduced to Suentus, Cerebus, and Siren, and like, I don't know, the effects that they have. It's a little loose. Okay, we're not saying it's not fun to read. Hard.
That's insane.
Looks like who was that? The Snow Shadow from G.I. Joe. That the little
looks like
ninja guy.
Pregnant with power.
Yeah, exactly.
With murder.
It's like that guy after too many cookies. And Cerebus is like fucking back in his bag. He's getting the crowd riled up. He's vengeance. Hard, just hard, fun to look at. And of course, he's kind of trying to rile up the masses. And as the masses run towards these Cyrenists who have kind of been
oppressed.
Yeah, exactly. They're just kind of pushing their will on this culture. Cerebus demands they kill, and it's sort of this anticlimactic thing where they're all running at her, and then they are much so immediately.
They are killed.
Yeah,
they are absolutely mowed down by these fucking warrior goddesses out here. Like,
hard.
They are. They're on that Xena program, guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's Yeah, it's very, and I mean, interesting character design. I think they're not to go against like the chainmail bikini type,
Yeah, it is going
Red Sonja-esque, and they're just like, I don't know, they look maybe what actually formidable
like
foes would look like.
Yeah. This,
but they forgot about our boy.
Speaking
the
of fucking Punisher Roach.
Yeah, so we have to remember we're in the 90s here, so
oh man,
we're not doing Moon Knight
and it's
anymore.
still sort of like tongue-in-cheek comics.
Yeah,
I love how he doesn't. So he's kind of like taking you along and stringing you down this kind of like way of thinking in a way, but then he cuts his own like conversation that he's having with these like moments either of like fantasy or with the Tick, the super funny like he does that really well, man. It's like he's not super hammering you over the head.
Yeah, he'll spoonful of sugar you, and if you like comics and stuff, this is a big like, hey, I get that reference.
Yes,
so fucking funny, these poses.
All of these, dude. That one, like, was this the one where he there's a guy that's saying maybe we should kill the roach or something, and he's like, he shoots him from down the block.
And it is very like, what do you call it? It's still harsh, Like,
this feels outside,
brutal.
This feels super like but outlaw,
juxtaposed with very funny moments,
Yeah, this is pretty wild.
Yeah, and I think this is sort of like homework kind of stuff, where it's like we're going to fix up this stuff with the Regency elf.
Yeah,
we're going to
steering it in a different.
I think I just take this whole volume as like a lore dump. Like he's just getting off all this shit. He's kind of, we have the fake judge and the real judge, and it's sort of just, I don't know if it's course correction necessarily, or if it's just like, okay, here's the salad you have to eat before your big old thing of fried chicken.
He is info dumping, but it feels like it's he's reformatting. Or
that's fair to say. And like, we're a little bit, I don't know, I don't necessarily buy the Cerebus Ascension stuff. It's like we're kind of I don't know, maybe a little over it.
so this does feel like, okay, so was the last Ascension like a failure to launch? Is that what he's saying with like, this is the real 8th sphere, and like,
and we are wall of texting here in a quite literal sense. I don't think it's chibi Cerebus.
I'm getting that yadded.
So we're kind of I don't know. I respect the world building. I love it. I love spending more time in this place and learning about all the backgrounds of.
We're losing some of the charm of the storytelling.
Yeah, I think we are. It is definitely more. It's not incoherent. Like, if you follow all this stuff, it does.
It's making sense.
I think it maybe ties up a lot of.
This is my favorite page of the whole.
Yeah, the chess piece with Suentus Poe, right?
Yeah. Oh, this was the part I was telling. For half a second slower, and I'd have a conspiracy on my hands.
And the old cosmic Suentus playing the chess with Cerebus. But I couldn't say like this
shit. Look at that pit, dude. That's a fucking pit right there.
Moshers. I forgot what that was. Something about the Cerebus cult of peaks.
It was one of the first like organized cults. I guess it was a Cerebus cult.
Yeah, they're kind of like, I don't know. Again, we're sort of. It's like, I think most people reading Cerebus are like, okay, those early issues weren't that serious.
Right. At this point.
But this whole issue is sort of all about saying like, okay, here's what was real, here's what wasn't. This is what this is canon, and this isn't. And if that sounds tedious, it kind of is.
it's. I mean, it's hard to keep track of. It is hard to keep track of, but also not, because if you just keep reading further,
right?
He keeps structuring it, and I think that it does suffer for it. Like maybe he finally got like the finalized vision on what he wanted to say, or where this part was fucked. That was so fucked. But and, like maybe where he wants to go with the story finally,
right?
Because he does say this was the one he has had the longest time to think of. This chunk of stories.
Yeah, because basically the first up until the first 6 volumes, I guess.
Yeah,
which I kind of don't believe because I think you get.
You think he's capping? Because I do think he has some sort of like ego, and he's preaching to the choir a little bit here. Like at this point, he's got his fandom.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I just kind of refuse to believe that you start drawing, you get this vision. I'm going to do 300 comics. I'm going to tell the story of the life of this aardvark guy, and but you know, a good 25 issue chunk is just going to be his ex-girlfriend hanging out with a weird pervy shop guy. And then also I'm going to make sure to, this book I'm reading about Oscar Wilde letters, I'm going to have that locked and loaded. That's going to be a 25 issue chunk. Like, I think he gets kind of a little hyper fixated on certain things and commits to them.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know how mapped out everything was. I'm sure there were beats, but you know, it's a little bit like, when George Lucas made the original trilogy, did he really have you know, a pod race in mind? Like, oh yeah, probably
later
before
on.
I bet when this Darth Vader guy was a kid, he was racing around.
Little tweaker kid.
Yeah, probably he would. There would be a guy, Ben Quadinaros. I don't think his race would start. No, I don't think that would have gotten off the ground. But Sebulba would be a formidable foe. Like,
and later on, the butterfly effect.
Yeah, I don't think that. Like, you know, it's that same kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I don't believe you had certain things mapped out, and maybe like as you got more into the story of these writers and of Oscar Wilde, you wanted to talk more about the nature of an artist.
It's almost like he's saying, "Don't worry, guys, I got this. Like, I got this story. You can trust me."
This is just a nice page. So most of the stuff I have dog-eared isn't really like great lines or particularly moving.
I didn't have much to say on this one other than just it's the first time I'm not
loving it.
This is you are getting kind of like steered in a different way, and the characters are kind of showing up differently too. Like not even just the Punisher Roach, but the guy that talks like Foghorn Leghorn.
Oh yeah, the albino
guy, and some other characters. It's just like you're getting a different presentation.
Yeah, I think. I mean, again, I don't know. It almost feels like this was maybe because he took such time in the previous volumes on the quieter chunks of the story. Maybe this was just like, okay, I just want to get everything out. Come on. You gotta love this. Is
Cable Run.
He's still like giving comic guy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not totally just giving you scrolls of text. And I always think of people who don't like the season 2 of The Wire.
Okay. Yeah.
I always think that's like I don't know, that's what I appreciate more in time. You know, on rewatches. I'm not a season 2 hater by any means, but
they're working through the story.
Yeah, and I don't think this is quite season 2 of The Wire. I don't think this is one you can pick up and reread and get more out of. But it still is like some mortar between the bricks. It's fleshing things out a little bit. It's like the cereal part of the Lucky Charms before you get to the marshmallows. Probably better that he put this after the 2 kind of quiet, more more intellectual books that he did. I think Women is better than this, and I think Reads is better than Women. So I do think it picks up as it goes along. Maybe mileage may vary for you on those takes, but this is a chunk. I think the 4, I forget what comes after that, after Reads, but they all make up this larger mothers and daughters sequence, which he claims is the kind of crux of the story. And maybe that I would believe, where he was, if he starts out with like, how do I tell the story of a matriarchal society, and how do I tell, this, I don't know, story of mothers and daughters, and how there's a difference there, and once a daughter becomes a mother, or she changes, and how do we kind of make that more literal, or tell that
like
through
a culture and society, how like it translates as like a daughter society to something, and like it's one of those where I'm starting to feel like a little separating art and artist a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, you don't suspend anything. You just like receive the information, take it. Dave Sim is telling a story.
Yeah.
And you just have to dive in, because everything does have a little purpose. Even if he's like correcting something, this is straight up like sandbox now.
Right.
Everything is on the table and nothing is on the table. So like, I think with that in mind, I'm able to still dig it, like dig parts of it. Like, oh, okay, this is so like the details with I think just the historic bits. Like it's making the story richer, but also like changing the focus of it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
again,
reading about the history of a fictional world, I mean, you have to kind of live in the world to care. Like, ultimately, I have to know.
Agreed. Yeah.
Frodo and Gandalf's relationship. That has to get me before they start talking about the history of the Elfish language and how that's changed over time, blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe I'll dive into that when I feel like diving into it, but I would kind of but I still ultimately do not care about that unless I care about Gandalf and Frodo. And we've gotten a lot of Gandalf and Frodo up until now. This is our history of Elfish languages, and like, I'll give it to him in terms of like, well, I won't lead with that. I'll let him get accustomed to this character. I'll make him really get accustomed to this character in terms of like his world and his loves and his losses and his rises and his falls, and we'll get him really along for the ride. But I do kind of need to tell you about the history of the Cyrenists and the Kevalists and Starcion as a whole. And cool. I'm not mad at it. I'm not fucking like going to sleep. The
concepts are a little I think where I get hung up on that part is that they're so dramatic.
Right.
It is like,
well, do you want to tell a story about like minor bills that have been passed under prime ministers, or do you want to say that Suentus Po led a legion and became so famous that there was actually several Suentus Poes, and it was a common name in the town, and that's why in this issue number 3, when we say that, when we call someone Suentus Po, like, that's not the Suentus Po, and thus there's repeating of these cycles of characters. I don't know, it's more fun to tell a big clunky story, I think, than, I don't know, the reality of history, which is really kind of boring, and then something big happens that fucks other things up down the line. You're like, oh shit, this is why.
That's why this part goes.
Okay, why are there homeless people? Okay, so Reagan, he was a Hollywood actor.
It's like it's such a. It's not mundane, but it is like, it's less. What do they say? Like the stranger than fiction kind of thing. Like it happens slowly. This does feel like a slog now. Like the last one was reader heavy.
Yeah.
But I think that along with that idea, like he is, man, there's some pages, and I started digging into the next volume a little bit. They feel like he's telling himself the story as he's making it. And it's like, oh, okay. Like you feel the wheels turning as the pages go.
Yeah.
Like there's sequences that are like, oh, sick. So now this happens, this happens, this happens. And now that I'm thinking about that, actually in the forward on this, he talks about how he the characters are all having conversations in his head,
right,
when he's writing this.
I mean, it does. I guess the impression I get of Cerebus as a whole is it was like a burden to tell and to have in his head and to communicate to the page. Like, it seems like something that had to be like pressure valve released, and this feels like a lot of stuff was kept in his head for a long time, and it didn't make any sense in the Oscar Wilde story, and it didn't make sense in the ex-girlfriend story, and like, whatever, we don't have anything else to talk about right now, so it's just
this is what we're getting.
Coked up guy in a bathroom telling you his business plan and why alpaca farming is the next big thing here. The craft is there.
It's there, man.
I'm indebted enough to this story to put up with it, but yeah, I would say this is less of a, well, fun isn't the word.
We're not in it for, I mean,
No.
The fun part is like less like Marvel fun. It's more of like the fun is like in the how every fucking issue he finds a way to innovate comics making,
for sure.
And that's, you can't fucking tell me that it isn't why the Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird and like all these guys with esteem, they're all looking at Dave Sim because he's that bitch, like you're saying. Like, he is that bitch.
I mean, this was written, I mean, this probably was on the stands the same time as Kraven'S Last Hunt, for God's sake. Or maybe a little bit after, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's in, and you can look at Kraven'S Last Hunt and you're like, well, these are other comics that are of that caliber. Or this is, you could tell that like this was influencing this next movement that was coming up. This shit is in a bubble. There's
for sure
nothing else really like this. I don't know why one would want to emulate this or how. It is its own thing, and I think it just is so valuable because of that. I don't know.
So
I'm going to keep hyping this up till it's I don't know. It's one of my favorite stories in comics. I really like it. This is not maybe the highest point, but
you still have to. I imagine you have to read this to even get further. Like,
for sure,
there's stuff in here that I don't think you can reiterate moving forward. It's just like, all right, this is the story up till now. Now you guys are caught up,
and that is sort of the struggle of the Cerebus enthusiast, is that you have to chain someone up in your basement and put a gun in their head and say, read the next one. No, read his letters. Read the letters where he's fighting with people. Like, they're important.
Fuck yeah.
Like, it is, you can't just chunk it out or be like, here's the cool parts. It's like, no, motherfucker, sit down, read about the fucking Cyrannus Kevelus battles in Astartion. Like, just suck it up, Buttercup. Like, we're getting through this shit.
This is like, for some reason, I'm also getting like Crash Bandicoot energy. Like, if Crash Bandicoot was like in some sort of hack and slash kind of thing, it's like visceral. I don't know, man. It's so weird. It's like, it's so 90s, but it's also in its own thing.
It was started in the 70s.
And it started in the 70s as a true blue sword and sorcery kind of thing. It's evolved, and I think that the artist has evolved along with, like, he's just fucking doing his own thing.
Yeah.
The aardvark is just, it just is.
Yeah, Cerebus is,
man. So on this kind of level, I think even though this wasn't my favorite so far, it still has like evolution happening, and I think that the Dave Sim is still moving forward in his own way and like his own territory. And you're not moving forward unless you're like in the cult, like in that way.
I think we're going to be better men at the end of reading. I really do. I sincerely do. I think you don't walk away from Cerebus unchanged.
Yeah,
and I would say there's a lot of comics where that's the case. There is no change that occurs.
and you know what? Like there are not many that you can say that about. like we were just saying with the Marvel comics, there aren't that caliber. And so, you know, sometimes it's icky, guys. I feel icky if you've been following along.
I live in the ick. I'm fine.
But sometimes you just got to live through it. It's not going to hurt you. It's, you know, it's just put Cerebus under your bed.
We'll talk after reads.
Okay. Reads I have heard about, and I have Lucy.
Okay.
And I read it.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll get to it when we get to it. So, yeah, until next time, right?
Next time, yeah.
At ease.
At ease.
God damn it. How long was it?